Hello dudes, it's Mailloux here, back with another Wynncraft guide. Today we are going to discuss gathering tools. Now, what are gathering tools? Well, gathering tools are the tools you need for the 4 different gathering professions. There are 4 tools, 1 per profession. There's the axe for wood cutting, the scythe for farming, the pickaxe for mining, and the fishing rod for fishing. Now, if you've started with profs or done the tutorial, you've probably come across a tool merchant who sells these profession tools, right? But the tool merchant only sells tier 1 and tier 2. Now, why does the tier actually matter? Well, the more you level up in professions, the slower and more time it will take. Basically, using an older tool. Tools sort of unlock a new tier of tool every 10 levels, but it starts at level 5, so to say. Basically, the tier 1 you can use from level 1 in every gathering profession, but the tier 2 is unlocked at level 5, and then it's spans of 10 in between every new tool. So at level 15, and then 25, and then 35, and then 45, and 55, and so on and so on. And you sort of need to upgrade when you level up. So when you level up from 5 up to level 15, when you can use tier 3, you sort of have to upgrade. Why would you need to upgrade? Well, it's because it will take much more time to actually cut down one single tree or mine one single ore. But if you upgrade your tools, it will sort of keep the same speed. So, where can you actually buy all the tools? Well, as mentioned before, tier 1 and tier 2 tools can be bought from the tool merchant. Now, the probably most easily found tool merchant is right outside of Ragni, but you can find them outside of most cities. Now, the tier 1 tools, they cost 4 emeralds a piece, and then the tier 2 tools, they cost 12 emeralds a piece. But what about the higher tier tools then? Well, the higher tier tools you actually buy from dungeon merchants. Now, every time you complete a dungeon, you get one sort of special dungeon reward, and then you get 3 dungeon fragments. Now, to buy these tools, you use the fragments, right? So, starting off with tier 3, you can buy it over in the shop over at the Decrepit Sewers or the Infested Pit dungeons. There, they each cost 1 fragment per tool, right? So you would have to complete the dungeon 2 times to have enough fragments to buy all 4 tools. Moving on to tier 4, you can get them over at the Lost Sanctuary dungeon or the Underworld Crypt. Here, the cost for it is 2 fragments a piece, right? So to be able to buy all of them, you would have to complete the dungeon 3 times. And for tier 5, you can buy them over at the Sandswept Tomb, where the cost is 3 fragments per tool, but also 64 emeralds per tool. So you would have to complete the dungeon 4 times to buy all the tools. You'd also need 4 emerald blocks for them. For tier 6, it's the Ice Barrow, so we're in the Nesak area. Here, the cost per tool is 4 fragments and 128 emeralds. And for all, the amount of times you would have to complete the dungeon to have enough fragments would be 6 times. Moving over to tier 7, you can buy them over in the merchant at the Undergrowth Ruins dungeon over in the Trom's jungle. Here the cost for one tool is 5 fragments and 256 emeralds. So basically you would have to complete the dungeon 7 times to have enough fragments. Next we have tier 8. You can find it over in the Galleon's Graveyard dungeon shop, or the Corrupt Decrepit Sewers over in the Forgery. Now the cost of course is the same wherever you buy them. Here it's 6 fragments per tool and 512 emeralds. So basically you would have to complete one of these dungeons 8 times to have enough fragments to buy all the tools. For tier 9, it's either the Corrupted Infested Pit or the Corrupted Lost Sanctuary. Here, the cost for one tool is 7 fragments and 1024 emeralds. So you would have to complete the dungeon 10 times before you have enough fragments. Moving on to tier 10, it's either the Corrupted Underworld Crypt or the Corrupted Sandswept Tomb. Here the cost for one tool is 8 fragments and 2048 emeralds. So to have enough fragments, you would have to complete the dungeon 11 times. For tier 11, it's either the Fallen Factory dungeon over in Corcus, or the Corrupted Ice Barrows, or the Corrupted Undergrowth Ruins. Here, the cost is 9 fragments and 1 LE per tool. So you would have to complete one of these dungeons 12 times to have enough fragments for all the tools. And lastly, we have the highest tier tool, which is tier 12. You can only buy this tier at the Eldritch Outlook. Here the cost for one tool is the same as tier 11. It's 9 fragments and 1 LE. And to have enough fragments for all 4 tools, you would also have to complete this dungeon 12 times. Now, of course, getting it from the actual dungeon isn't the only option you have when it comes to getting the higher tier tools. You can also buy them over on the trade market. So you could, for example, go to Dauntless and use the trade market search filter and search up the tier tool you want and buy it from there. But of course, if they don't sell it there, or if the price is a bit too much, then the dungeon is probably, the only way to get it, unless you can buy it directly from a friend instead of the player market. But yeah, that's basically all of it for this short guide on gathering tools. You can either buy them on the trade market if they sell them there for sometimes affordable prices and sometimes not. It's very subjective. Or you can, get them yourself by completing the dungeons, sometimes quite a bit of times, with a couple of emeralds as well. But yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, keep in mind that upgrading your tools, it's worth it. It's really worth it. Using low tiers on higher ones, it can sometimes ruin the grind because it takes far too long. So it's worth upgrading, even though it can take a couple of emeralds or a couple of dungeon runs. But yeah, that's basically it for this guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.